All right, welcome to class, everyone. Please let me know if the volume is up on this microphone and you all can hear me okay. Great. Hello, Barbara. I'm super pumped about this evening's class to really go over some really good sales emails and some sales emails that aren't so hot. I'm also excited to share my personal example. Hello, Kusana. Excited to share with you all my personal example of this because I will say that there are very few marketing emails that get me to respond. If I actually open and respond, then you better come with something or I'm gonna be upset that I wasted my time. And we went over that in last class. So let's go over a little bit. Remember that 19% of your email recipients fully read email newsletters. And only 35% of your readers will skim or scan your email. So no one really reads anymore. Well, at least not to completion. We have so many distractions that kind of get in the way of us actually reading. And I know we're all guilty of that. Like I will skim over a lot of different things. And sometimes people will say to me, did you read my text? Now I try not to skim when it comes to client work, but if you were texting me 9 times out of 10, I skimmed. So please send me a very short text message or I'm going to skim this. So remember we talked about some of the skills that you'll need when writing your copy. And we talked about when you're writing an email, write it like you're using it on the web. And we know that we'll have like 6 seconds to kind of build rapport with someone when they're on our website, if they're going to leave the page or continue to read. And so you should do the same thing when we're talking about sending out sales emails. Captivate them immediately and use short paragraphs to convey your message. If it's going to be long, a lot of times people may select unread or put it in a folder to do later and just never get back to it. So we want to make sure that it isn't hard for them to read. And so one way that we can do that is use bullets and subheadings. And especially with knowing that majority of your audience is going to skim, that using some major bullets to kind of sum up what you're talking about can get them to either A, take the time to actually read your email, or B, quickly get to the conclusion on if they're going to have some type of reaction, whether it's pick up the phone and call you, click through to buy the product, whatever the case may be. Make it easy for them to figure out without having to read a whole bunch of words. And we also went over how images tell a story. People aren't reading, but they will see a picture. And if you can use some sort of imagery in your sales emails, it'll go a lot further. And we reviewed a heat map last class on an example. I can't remember what publisher we used, but a well-known publisher. Majority of the people were looking at the images versus the text. And we also discussed how important it is to be real, using a whole bunch of salesy language. And I call it, this is so funny, like the language used in 1980s workout videos. You know, oh, come on, yes, push it, let's go. Like that stuff is whack. People know that it's not authentic. And you want to speak to people like you're a real person and like they're also a human too. You know, messaging now is one of our main forms of communication via text. And people want to be communicated with like they aren't going to read a dissertation at school, that they're actually talking to someone that they want to talk to. And you can't forget to have some sort of call to action. And that was the last point of last class is having a call to action is so important. If I don't know what to do after I read your email, then you haven't really done a good job with your email. It's almost a waste of time. So today, we're going to go over a part of this lesson that is all about the examples. And the examples are the yay and nay sales email example. So here's some I'm going to show you some examples that will make you go, yay, that was great. I'm going to copy this and use it right now. Or nay, that was kind of whack and I would never use that. Or I'm going to stop formulating emails that look and sound like this. I'm going to, structure them a little bit differently. So here's one example that I love. Take a look at this email. Just take some time to read it. What do you see? Just type in the chat box the first thing that pops out to you after taking those 6 seconds to look at the email. What do you see? Any takers? Or are you actually taking the time to read it now because they what? Uber did a really good job of calling out the fact that people scan. And they used light text and dark text. And I want to make sure that's coming up on your end that you all can see the light gray text. And they wrote an entire paragraph that made sense, but they bolded, okay? Barbara says, specifically reading the info since the bold states the facts. Exactly. It's so true. He said, I mean, when I saw this, I was like, oh my goodness, they know that I'm skimming. And my immediate behavior went to literally skimming just like it's bolded out. They did a great job. I would actually sync my calendar. I would totally do it because I'd be like, you know what? Uber gets me. They understand that I don't have time to read that entire paragraph that takes me 24 seconds. And I say 24 seconds for a reason. You'll learn a little bit more later on in class. But man, they get me. They understand where I'm coming from. Maybe their tools are also going to understand that I don't have time to read a complete dissertation when I receive an email. This is great. So this is a good example of using copywriting skills and the use of design. So it took a lot of skill to still write a paragraph that made sense. So here's the whole thing. It says, we know life can be busy. That's why you're always skimming and scanning everything that you read. Even this email, along with briefs, documents, text messages, all to save time. A quick sync is something you dread. And could your calendar be any more full? The time is precious, but with Uber, it's easy to save more. You probably won't read any further, so just tap to get started. This was epic. Like if I were to crown one of the best marketing emails of the year, this would be it. And so in addition to that great body copy, which I may have read had I known, like I maybe would have read it. One thing that they were able to do was make sense of the skim. And so the skim says, we know that you're scanning this email to save time. Sync your calendar with Uber to save more. Boom. They're hitting me with a problem that I have because they know that I'm scanning because I don't have time. They know that I probably use a calendar and that if I'm using a calendar, I have meetings, and if I'm using meetings, maybe I'm going some other place and I need to get there quickly, and I can get a ride with syncing it to my calendar. So my ride is going to be called when my meeting is up. Perfect. I love it. This is a great example. All right, now let's move on to the next one. Now, this one is from Mom and Dad Money, and it says, hey, Lindsay, do you have 2 minutes for a quick favor? I'm trying to learn some basic information about who my readers are and what they're interested in. Could you fill out a short questionnaire to help me out? It'll take less than 2 minutes, and I'd really appreciate it. Here's the link, Mom and Dad Money Reader Questionnaire. Thanks, Lindsay, Matt. Now, what I like about this is it really touches on the fact that, and I think we talked about this in the last class or the previous class, maybe it was part 2. It is very important for us to clearly understand who our audience is. Like if we don't know who they are, then we can't write content or we can't curate content that is useful and helpful to them. So when you are creating the body of your email, don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to say, hey, I know that your time is valuable and I want to understand more about your needs so that I don't waste your time in your inbox. Can you please fill out this short questionnaire that helps me better understand what you need? I would do that. And then the fact that they told me, you see here, it says it takes less than 2 minutes. Boom, done. I can dedicate 2 minutes to you, because 9 times out of 10, if I've opened the email and I have spent at least 6 seconds, I actually know who you are, I'm familiar with you, or I'm curious enough, you have my interest. So make it easy for me to make a decision to stay committed to reacting and acting on what you want. And they did a great job of that. Remember that if the people are reading your emails, they actually do want to hear from you. And if they aren't responding to your emails, maybe they're not clicking through and having that call to action, you aren't giving them the content that they want. But them opening and staying for a little bit is showing you, hey, like, you have some familiarity. You're not just a stranger. Just show me some stuff that I'm interested in. And this is what we didn't see. Now, HubSpot reported on this, and they did some really good study on sales emails at work. But what we didn't see was the back end. And so what really made this email really effective, not only was it the fact that they did such a great job with writing it and making it simple and letting me know what to expect and why, but here's what they said. Within a few days of responding to the questionnaire, they received a long, detailed, personal email from Matt, thanking them for filling out the questionnaire and offering a ton of helpful advice and links and resources specifically catered to their answers. And this is a big deal. Now, it's one thing to fill out a questionnaire. We know that there are going to be more than one person that fills out a questionnaire, especially if you make it automated. We know that you're going to have multiple responses. But the fact that there was a personalized email from the sender with useful information, it wasn't necessarily content that Matt had created. It was useful information and resources that was tailored to the reaction that the person received. Now, what's great about this is we touched on this a little bit a couple of lessons ago. All of these emails can be automated, and based on various behaviors and triggers, you can send out emails that look very personalized but are actually automated. And I'm 9 times out of 10 sure that that's what Matt did, especially if their list is very big. And all you have to do is use the right tools and write the right copy at the right time for the right person just once. So it takes a while to set it up. But once you have it going, it's on autopilot forever. So it's important for us to understand what our customer wants, to check in with them, and then to respond accordingly. Just don't take the information. I spent 2 minutes doing this. What do I get back? Just don't go and take the information and run. Actually give themselves something in response. And now that I think of it, I think it would be a great idea if I did a lesson on how we go about setting up list segmentations and automations. Now that in itself could be like 10 lessons, but I want to do some research and figure out how I can go about teaching that in a way that everyone can receive the information and actually start doing some of these automations. Just because you don't have a business right now doesn't mean that you shouldn't have some sort of automation. Like, you should be sending out a newsletter. You should be creating posts. And if somebody reacts to it, we need to have an automation that sends them a correspondence that says, hey, I noticed you noticing me. So I'm putting you on notice that I noticed you too. That was from a movie. I think it actually was from a Fresh Prince episode. But it makes a lot of sense. So we just want to let folks know, hey, if you paid attention to me, I want you to know that I see that, I value it, I hear it, etc. Now, let's go on to this example. This is when you want to keep it real with a stranger, okay? When you're meeting someone new, especially in person, I mean, that in itself is difficult. It's not an easy feat to break the ice. And when you're breaking the ice over email, it's hard. And sometimes people are like, look, I don't know you from Steve. So, and Adam and Susie, I'm marking this as spam. I'm not opening it. But one thing that, let's just even start with the subject title. If we look at the top, bolded in black, it says 26 seconds or less. Now, that's hit or miss. That could either work really well or it could be very spammy, either or, but this is one that performed well according to HubSpot. And it says, I'll keep this short and sweet to make the 26 seconds it takes to read this worth your time. Yes, I timed it. One, that sentence in itself will make me laugh a little bit, pique my interest, and I'm kind of like, okay, well, I can invest 26 seconds. This is a common theme that we're seeing in a lot of these successful emails, is that we are managing the time and we're managing each person's expectation because we know that they're skimming and that they're not spending a lot of time reading their emails. And the email goes on to say, as a blank, right? I'm just going to fill in the blank. As a CEO at Wrigley, I get to speak with people like you about achieving their sales goals. Okay. Your company is on my radar because we've helped a lot of companies in this space, etc. So one thing that this email does well is it's very specific. That's not just some generic email. We're inserting where the person, the goals that they're trying to accomplish. So you're letting me know that you may have paid attention to me a little bit. You're letting me know the market space that I'm playing in, so that further clarifies that you kind of may know who I am and it's not just super spammy, and that those things are key. So if you're telling me more and more about my business in a short paragraph, and these are all things that you can just find simply, you can automate this, then I'm going to keep reading. And it says, hey, schedule 15 to 20 minute call and let's discuss the strategy. I love that. And it goes further to say what excites you, which challenges you see, and how you envision your plan changing down the road. Even if you decide not to continue the conversation after our call, I'll leave you with some advice for whatever business area that will make an immediate impact. What this is saying is, okay, one, our call isn't going to be long. Perfect, because we don't want to stay on the phone forever. It's a big deal that I'm even picking up the phone to call you or setting up an appointment, etc. But if I call you and I don't like what you sell or what service you're providing or whatever you're doing, you're at least going to give me some information that I may or may not know that will impact me immediately, that will impact me in that moment. So we're going to get an instant gratification for spending 15 minutes that could potentially help my business. Now, how many of you all would book an appointment with this person? Do you think that this email is structured in a way where if you didn't know who this person was, what this company was, never heard of them before, you would go out and say, okay, I'm going to set up some time with you because it makes sense. I can invest 15 minutes to potentially help my business. And it seems like you know a little bit about what I'm doing, or at least the marketplace where I'm in, and why not learn more? I would call. I would set up a meeting. I would be curious. I don't know if any of you all would be curious, but I'd be like, I'll invest the time. I'm going to cut it down to 10 minutes. We're going to cut it short. And so Barbara says she agrees. Like, I would do it. They did a great job. So this is an example that all of you all should use. And I will send you all a list of these templates that worked really well, that performed in 2018. Just like I did similarly to the subject titles, I'll send this over to you all so you have it, because this is something we all can copy and paste and send out for ourselves. Now, let's take a look at this email. Now, this is going to be a working example that we go through together. And this sales email makes you say nay. And here, and we'll go over why and some possible edits. It starts and says, hello, insert customer's first name. So we already know that this is probably going to be a little salesy. My name is Heather. I head up business development efforts for Brain Market. I want to introduce you to Brain Market PowerPort, the leading platform for disruptive marketing. Our customers' industry, right? Clients have been taking advantage of brand control and management, enabling their sales team and local level with corporate approved content, creating and executing multi-channel campaigns, understanding your business model I am certain Brain Market can provide a successful solution for whatever your company's name is. If you are not the most appropriate contact, please point me in the right direction. I appreciate your time and look forward to helping where I can. Best, Heather. Now, I will say, so this was displayed on Inc.com, and I will say that this is a good email. You know, it's not bad, but it doesn't make me say yay. Like, I don't get pumped up for that. Like, let's just think about how the Uber email just made us feel. You know, it called out, you know, what's really going on. This email, it says a lot, but it says a whole lot of nothing because I'm just confused. All right, so let's kind of go over some areas where we could possibly edit. One, there is no opening hook. Let's go back and see. This is how the opening starts. My name is Heather. I head up business development efforts with Brain Market. Right there, what she said. So this is where it's supposed to be the hook, line, and sinker. This is supposed to be the secret sauce. This is where it's supposed to get really exciting. All you told me was that you're a salesperson at Brain Market. Delete. I'm immediately hitting delete. Okay, like there's no opening hook. Then, too much talk about me versus the needs of the product. Heather talked about herself too much. Okay, hey, this is a leading platform, and they do brand control. They enable sales teams, and me. Heather. That's all we're talking about. But Heather really didn't talk a lot about me. Maybe she mentioned my industry once, but she really didn't tell me a whole lot of confirming things that she knows where I am versus the email that we saw before. It was pretty descriptive. It was like, okay, cool. They gave me the name of my company. They told me where I'm at. Like, there are some different aspects of these emails, and I'll turn to this one, that tell us a little bit more. There's also too many sales jargons. Like, let's just count out how many sales words this person says. Leading platform, 1. Disruptive marketing, 2. Brand control, 3. Management, 4. Enabling sales team at local level with corporate, that's a whole bunch. Creating and executing multi-channel campaigns, a whole bunch. Like, all they're doing is giving me jargon after jargon after jargon. Okay, it's not human at all. It feels like a plug and play. Let me just add you to the automated funnel, and I didn't do any research. How boring is this? This doesn't make me feel good at all. I don't want to call you, especially if I just received an email like this that said, hey, you know, it's going to take 26 seconds. And this 26 seconds, you'll spend 15 minutes. In that 15 minutes, you'll have something that's going to impact your business immediately versus jargon. Okay. And then on top of that, there is no reason to respond. Even if there was a response, a need to respond, I wouldn't know how. Let's see what she said. She said, please point me. She says, understanding your business model, I'm certain Brain Market can provide successful solution for whatever your company name is. If you are not the appropriate contact, please point me in the right direction. I appreciate your time and look forward to helping where I can. Okay, if I am the appropriate contact, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to call you? Is there a link for me? Like, you don't really give me much. So even if I wanted to work with you because maybe I've heard of Brain Market and I have a friend that's actually using it with their company, it's working well, I don't really know you, Heather, and you really didn't tell me how I can get to know you. There is no clear call to action and really no reason to respond. I'm not even understanding. So let's review a way that it could have gone. And Inc. did a good job of reframing this email. And this one actually makes you say yay. 1, let's just take into account how different they are in terms of length. Here's the first one. Okay, it's a freaking dissertation, folks. It's a whole lot of words. Here's the revise. Okay, it says, hi, customer's first name. Great. Heather from Brain Market here. Companies make more sales with consistent marketing. PowerPort can put proven sales tools into the hands of everyone who sells your product. If that sounds useful, I can explain how it works. Best, Heather. Now, this is better, right? This is the revised that Ink did, but I would actually add a couple of different things. One, I would add links to getting on my calendar and saying, hey, these are the times that I'm available to speak with you. Or B, click here to get a demo of my product. Like some type of call to action that allows me to better understand. Maybe it's a YouTube video that showcases the testimonials and the thing live in action, like something that gets it going. But at least what they did here was simplify it and let us know what we're trying to do and how it's going to help. Great job, Inc. Now, I want to give you all my personal sales email fail of Q4 2018. Now, last class, I shared with you all that I had a very interesting email exchange with someone trying to market their products or services. And there are, most of the time I don't open the emails, but there are some days where you will get me. And the day to get me with marketing emails is Friday. Friday is a day where, one, I try to stop working at 4 because I work on Saturdays and sometimes Sundays. So I try to stop working at 4, and I like to get caught up on my DVR. You know, all week, all the good shows have been recorded, and I don't really have time to watch them. Friday is the day where I get caught up and binge my DVR, and I'm excited to watch trash TV. So one Friday afternoon, I receive an email, and the email goes, "Good morning, Mikai. This correspondence is my follow-up to our very informative conversation on yesterday evening. After a review of your impressive website and listening to the excellent video presentation, we have direct access to potential clients that could be interested in your revenue-producing marketing services. Please check your schedule for available dates and times that we can agree upon for a telephone conference or office meeting. Kind regards, Stephen." So let me give you all a little background. Now, the day before, I was a judge for a pitch competition. 1871 is a incubator here in Chicago, and the Illinois Hispanic Chamber of Commerce was giving away $5,000 to the pitch competition winner. So I had conversations with a lot of people that night. And even though this email is a little off, okay, it's actually really off, curiosity kind of got me. It was a Friday, you know, I was kind of easing into the end of the day, and I was a little curious. So I call it curiosity and a common event made Mikai reply. It made me reply. I was curious, one, because I didn't have a video. Like, yeah, I was a judge, and so I had to give questions, and maybe there was a video out there of me questioning one of the participants. I don't know. And one, two, we had this common event. So there was something in common that we have. And we talked about this in the last session, where find those commonalities, because those things actually work. So if you know this person went to the same college as you, you all are in the same fraternity or sorority, you all have, you know, this, whatever that commonality is, call it out, because people will get curious. They want to know a little bit more. Here's my response. Stefan, thanks for reaching out. I was not part of the pitch process for the competition at 1871. I was one of the judges, not sure what video you're referencing. How did you come across my contact information? Now, that's a fair response, right, folks? Like, hey, I'm glad you reached out. It could have been one of the founders of 1870. Who knows? Like, I want to know who you are. And you kind of got it right. Like, yeah, I do some services. So I'm a little curious, right? So I give you a response back, and I let you know. So as a marketer, as a person, I'm letting you know, hey, one, you got me wrong. I wasn't part of the pitch process. I don't know what video you're talking about. I was one of the judges. How did you get my info? Now, this is a time where the person on the other end, Stephen, can easily say, and by the way, Stephen, I couldn't include his title because you would have known who he was. Stephen is the president and CEO of a company, folks. Okay? president and CEO of a company. So right there, I'm like, okay, the CEO of this company is reaching out to me. I'm going to take some time to learn a little bit more about what he's offering and what he's doing, etc. Like what's really, really going on. Okay. Now, what gets really good at this is here's where the correspondence goes off track. Now, Stephen could have easily said, hey, you know what? My mistake. I got us mixed up. How did you enjoy the event last night? Did you like being a judge? What were some of the things that made you choose this winner versus the other ones? This was my favorite video. Let's connect because I may be able to help you. You know, like the email could have like gone on a right track, you know, because you had me engaged because I actually took some time and I formulated a whole lot of words, okay? That's a lot of words for a marketing email, all right? Here's where it goes off track. Here's Stephen's response. Thank you, Mikai, for prompt response. Please provide your requirements for prospective clients to have a contract for your firm services. I'm so freaking confused. What? One, this is where the details matter. Now, we all have typos, right? But like, I'm like, man, what is this person talking about? What do you mean? Now, here's another thing. I'm still curious, believe it or not. Yes, folks, I actually reply because I'm like, you're the president and CEO. You should know better than this. Right when I got you, like, and I replied, and I'm a human, you give me a human response. I said, Stephen, I'm not clear on what you're offering or if you understand the solutions that my firm provides and to whom. Best of luck. That is when you bow out gracefully. I gave you a really good response. I didn't want to burn a bridge. I'm like, you still were a part or at least knew someone or you was something with an event that I was a part of and that I care about with partners that I value. So let me not just go ham. But here's where he went wrong. Stephen should have just decided to just fade to black, right? But he decided to reply. And here's his response. Mikai, your video presentation made mention of revenue generation through specialized marketing technique. We have potential clients that will be referred to your firm and need to inform them of what is the cost for services. I'm so confused. What video presentation? What are you talking about, Stephen? Right? Like, what? Unfortunately, here's the response that a marketer receives when the details are an afterthought. I have to say, Stephen, again, I did not do a video presentation. Did you read my first email correspondence? Please remove me from your email list. Now, I didn't want to have to say, hey, I want to ban you forever. Don't email me ever again. But you aren't reading. Like, how are you going to be an email marketer and skim the emails or the responses that your potential prospects send you back? That doesn't make any sense. So we have to be careful here. And this was an email back and forth where this marketer could have truly saved this sale if there was going to be a sale, or at least saved the relationship or name whatever, with just being authentic and just saying, hey, you know what? My bad. I'm glad to know that you are a judge. Make some conversation about that. We have that common event. I actually replied. So if someone replies to you, just know that it's like them saying, yes, I want your services. Just go about it that approach, but I need more information, right? I need to know more about if you know my pain. I need to know more. So here's a way that the approach could have gone. And this is another example from HubSpot. Hi, let's say that it's Mikai, right? Hi, Mikai. I checked out your website and it looks like you might be trying to accomplish sales goals, whatever, for your customers. Without making any assumptions about your business goals, I believe blank might play a pivotal role in your success. This is what I love about this first paragraph. This is what Stephen could have said to me. Hey, I checked out your website. I knew that you were at this event. I don't want to make any assumptions about your business, right? Stephen made a whole lot of assumptions, but here's some things that, you know, you may not be familiar with. If you're unfamiliar with whatever company, our solutions help businesses in prospect company space. There are 3 main goals. Here go the bullet points. This is where bullet points come in, where it's very important to bullet out those goals, make them short and sweet. Are you free in the next few days for a call to discuss blah, 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 strategy for whatever business area? That is a perfect example of how you can meet someone via email, okay, that is kind of cold, but not really, and just be real and say, hey, like, I don't want to assume that I know that I know what your problems are. That is great. Like, that just when I read that sentence, it just makes your senses of, you know, rejection, like want to reject it, go all the way down. And I'm like, oh, at least you're real. Okay. And then you're bulleting out, because, you know, right now I may not be reading. Now I'm skimming. You're letting me know in bullet points what the point is. And then you're saying, am I free for over the next few days for a call? Great. That's perfect. So all in all, what's really important is for us to make sure that anytime we're sending out marketing emails, we have to make sure that we know our audience, we're meeting them where they are, and we're sending them relevant content, and we're being real people, like, and communicating in a real life language, especially since email, text, digital correspondences are some of the most common correspondences now versus telephone. We have to kind of change the way that we talk to people. People don't want to read a dissertation. They want to hear something like from a friend. All right. So our next class, we're going to be covering how to close your emails. How do we go about closing? Like, closing is so important. What is that closing technique that gets your prospect to respond, react, buy, book, whatever? What are those techniques that will be there? Remember, Mikai Brown Sales School is live. The course is no longer under the Black Business School, but what's really great is that all of the previous How to Sell and Make Money classes are now available inside of How to Make Money Selling. Please go to mbsaleschool.com. The class is only $67 versus $89, which you all were paying before. I'm super excited about our closing technique lessons tomorrow, and we're going to get real hands-on in this upcoming November with techniques to build your audience over the holidays. And how do you go about building an audience? How do you go about building your customer base? That's all going to be really important. So how do you take advantage of this holiday boom and people not caring about work and people getting a whole lot more social? So in November, we'll cover that. But next week, we are covering closing techniques. So go to mbsaleschool.com. Please don't forget to get enrolled. And I will see you all next week in class. Have a great week, everyone.